I want to thank my Patreons at my Patreon page for supporting me. And the Patreons that I have are King, Husband and Carol, Lauren Holling, Stephen Wolkowski, Ribby, Erica Xavier, Karen Fitzgerald, Jeff Holliday, Paul Mannerheim, Sapphire Rain, Ribbity, and Clint Davis. Thank you so much for supporting me. You make it possible for me to write and to not worry about writing, I can write what I like to read. In fact, I just started a new page dedicated to writers like myself who write for posterity and not for fame or wealth. And that's at gabrielchana.com/favorites. And at my Patreon page, I advertise whenever I add to my website. You get the exclusives, like if I add a new web page or if I updated my Fox News Channel website. The people at Patreon will be the first to find out about it. I also have my longer videos there, like if I have an extended Skype conversation with one of my men and I've recorded it, that is at Patreon. So I actually established a playlist of all the videos that are offered for my Patreon fans only, like Silver Skies Chapter 1, the audiobook, where I actually sing Apple Blossom Time in there. The Hurricane Matthew Aftermath, October the 10th, 2016. Pictures I took outside. Hurricane Matthew Power Workers Outside, October the 8th, 2016. Hurricane Matthew Aftermath Outside, October the 7th, 2016. Hurricane Matthew on My Radio, where the Gale Shield won, October the 7th, 2016. Hurricane Matthew on the morning of October 17th, 2016. That was Melbourne Outside. Then some more hurricane radio broadcasts with Matthew, October 17, 2016, 3 to 4 a.m. Hurricane Matthew, 9 to 5 a.m. October 6 and 7, 2016. Hurricane Matthew in Melbourne, Florida, October 7th, 12 a.m. to 2 a.m. Hurricane Matthew in the evening, October 6, 2016. Suspicious Clouds and Skype, talking with Zach Knight and Terrence Jenkins on September 17th, 2016. September 14, 2016, I showed some laundry, face clouds, my facelift exercises. I'm almost 60, by the way. And I talked about that. And then when I had my Tosh O appearance, when I flew out to Los Angeles, I brought a camera with me and I took pictures of my hotel room, of when I walked out there in the Hollywood area. I walked out to a Target and this is like 3 hours of video, and I showed pictures of me at the airport, the LA airport, the Orlando airport, and also getting ready for my trip to Los Angeles. These are only for my Patreon fans. And I had an extended conversation with Terrence Jenkins on Skype on September 6, 2016. And this was And then when Zach Knight, when he was out in his semen bubble, I had an extended conversation with him when he was inside his semen bubble. That's like a 1 to 2 hour long Skype conversation. That is its Patreon. And then I also had a Patreon video where I talked with Zach Knight, where he survived the blast, but unfortunately the state of Wyoming got destroyed. So these are all in a playlist that you can only view if you go to my Patreon page. And so I'm encouraging you all to check out my Patreon page and also check out my new web page at my website, which I've already mentioned at my Patreon page. Like I said, I worked really hard on this page, and my goal is to write something that will last, that 100 years from now will still be in print, or 200 years from now. And I'm very disappointed in the quality of literature today. And it's my goal as a writer to write something that will last for posterity. And I want to thank you all, my Patreon supporters, because you are making it possible for me to do this, because the Jesuits steal my writing income. And without my supporters, I would not be able to eat and, eat and stay off the streets so that I can do this. So you guys are making this possible. And I believe that my next book is going to be my best one yet. It's a story. It's basically, it's going to be a novel, but it will, I will give you the latest updates on that also at my Patreon page. I might even, you can get some like previews of the book there and stuff like that. Like I put previews of what I've written so you can get a glimpse of what's coming up. And I think I'm patterning it after Jane Austen's Pride and Prejudice, and I'm going to try to match the quality of her book with my book. And I'm really excited about this. I think it's going to be a literary masterpiece. That's what I'm aiming for. So thank you, Patreon supporters. Check out my page. One more thing I forgot to mention. If you subscribe for $5 a month or more, you get a free audiobook of your choice at my Patreon page. And this will last as long as I have free audiobooks to give out. And so far, they're all available, but that will be at my Patreon page. And so be sure to remind me each month which books you want. But I try to keep track of my Patreon. Some of my Patreons, even though they subscribe $5 a month or more, they don't seem to be too concerned about getting all my audiobooks, but I have already given out a lot of free audiobooks. So this is for $5 a month or more. Be sure to remind me. I will try to contact you, but be sure to remind me every month if you do subscribe $5 a month or more that you would like to get an audiobook, and then I will give you a list of those that are available. We can message each other through Patreon and discuss that. So thanks for my Patreons. You are making it possible for me. You know, a lot of writers, the reason I think writing stinks so much today, it's really hard to get any great fiction, any great novels today. They're all horrible. And I think it's because all writers are trained to write for the markets rather than writing what you really love to read. And everybody's writing to the markets, and the quality of literature has gone down all over the world. I hope as a writer to rectify that. Because I don't write for the markets, I write for posterity. And I guess I am. I'm writing to reach the reader's heart, to make them think about their life, and to hopefully help them to see their life the way that God would want them to see it. But then I never preach. So it's Jesus calls me his favorite writer. So I write for posterity, and you, my Patreon supporters, are making this possible. So I don't write for the markets. I am trying to write great literature, and I'm getting better with each book. And I think my next book might just do it. Like I said, I'm patterning this one after Jane Austen's Pride and Prejudice.